Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm at
and today we're going to be reviewing,
Prison Break.
the first episode of the new season of Prison Break, Ogygia.
Sure.
That's what it's called. Now, see, I watched the first four seasons of Prison Break quite a number of times, and this is been gone for like nearly 8 years. So this is kind of the revival version. It's interesting to say the least. Interesting in the sense that, well, it's really quite random, like
Mm.
crazy. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, it's like with Heroes Reborn when they brought that back after it being off the TV for 5 years. It's like, right, it's been away for like quite a few years. You'd think they'd be able to, like, in that time come up with like a better story. So
Yeah.
that
I
so
didn't watch Heroes Reborn, but to my memory, it didn't have to bring some dude back from the dead, did it? Like, 'cause that's basically a ridiculous conceit you got to go with this show now. Is it's all based around like some soap opera thing where we're bringing back a dude who died at the end of the show.
yeah, it's interesting. But I think there's ways you can do it because you didn't actually see him die. He's just about to put the electrical things together. It zaps off and the door opens. So I mean, really, I mean, the thing is that they double down on it. Like, not, I mean, even if he did survive the electric shock, there is like the fact he has a brain tumor, so he didn't have time left. It did that. It did a little recap at the start of the episode. Now, I think there is a kind of obvious way they can, because like obviously there's a twist at the end which I think they can explain using kind of that. So I mean, it's just the fact that, like, there's no body in his grave. I mean, it kind of shows, like, after him being dead, you kind of saw like Michael Scofield being put into his like cream suit, and it looks as though he's getting ready to be buried and stuff like that. And then, like, there's a lot of kind of really strange things. The fact that Teabag, who's got multiple life sentences, and I mean a crazy amount of life sentences, just happens to get like released. I mean, that to me is like crazy. It's like, I mean, short of a presidential pardon, there's no way he's getting out of prison. But even then, it's like, how's that going to be explained? That's some real, like,
It
un,
is, and it's also something. To be honest, it's something I kind of struggled with
yeah,
during the time I watched the show. Is yeah, there is something kind of likable about him, but always in the back of my head, I'm thinking, like, this dude is not only a murderer, but he's a. I haven't watched it in a long time. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is he not a paedophile?
yeah.
How can I what?
Yeah,
I struggle with that.
it's yeah. That's the thing I struggle with, because really, his, like, he was literally probably like the second best character, if not the best character in the show. It's interesting because they did the kind of backstory with him, that he was like really clever, and it was this thing of, oh, we could be president one day, and his dad used to like do things with him and stuff like that, and that's what, turned him into the kind of person he is. So yeah, he had crazy life sentences. So I mean, there must be some real dodgy dealing down there for him to get out of prison. So he kind of like, he goes and gets his personal effects, and is like got like a laptop computer. Like, when he was brought into prison, he had a laptop with him. It's like, knock it off, you know what I mean? The gum, yeah, in his pocket, but a laptop, it's like that's obviously been placed there. So there's a kind of conspiracy thing there. In the pay, like, he got like a letter, and there was like Arabic postage stamps on it and stuff like that, and then he opens that and it's a real hazy picture of Michael Scofield. So he goes and takes that to another kind of dumb thing as well. Like, Lincoln went through all this stuff, and then he's slipped back into his kind of old ways. It's like that's one thing that I thought would never happen as well. Like, I guess Sarah Tancredi's kind of living her life with Michael Jr. or whatever the kid's called, and she's got this new husband, and like he kind of, Lincoln just, I guess, loud him off, went back to Chicago, and then just started doing dodgy
Right.
things, and it's
It
like,
it
has he
does
learnt
sort of
nothing?
exactly. It does sort of devalue like everything that happened before, right? Not
Exactly.
not just the end of the show where he supposedly died for Lincoln, but even the very beginning, the whole reason he went into prison to break him out. Like, you've just fallen back into the exact thing you were doing before, so it
Which
kind
was
of devalues the entire journey of the show before it.
which was real disappointing, because I swear, like, them people were after him for money, and I swear, like, he got into like money troubles, like the first time round, to pay for like Michael's thing, so he ended up borrowing money off dodgy people, and then they kind of sent him to go and shoot the guy in the car who was like already dead, but they kind of fixed him up as like the vice president's brother and whatever, and that's what got him like on death row in the first place. So the fact is literally just circled, and that I thought that was real dumb. So well, you know what I mean, because as you said, it was just like pointless. So I mean, that's two crazy things that have happened already, well, three crazy things with the fact he's been brought back from the dead. But I guess they could kind of explain that away, because people have explained away worse, and it's just been like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, I said I think it's kind of stupid, and I do, but like I said, you got to give the show's back as a mulligan. You got to give it. I'll give it that one. He's back from the dead,
Yeah.
fine,
The
but I'm not forgiving everything else.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, they could have threw red herrings in the last episode and stuff like that, but I really think the guy was just like, look, it's done. It's like, even if they kind of think of a way of him surviving the electricity, he's got a brain tumour. So like, in my mind, the creator and the guy who's done it all was just like, look, done, finite. And then it's been like, okay, we'll bring it back. And then it's like, they could have at least threw some red herrings into the last episode on the off chance that like they decide to bring it back. And I think like not showing him actually like showing his body after he got electrocuted, I guess, was a little red herring. But I mean, yeah, so another kind of heavy-handed thing after this happens, like, he goes and meets Lincoln, and like, even though Lincoln's getting chased down by these loan sharks, he's free to go back to his house and there's no one about. So Teabag goes and finds him at his address, where clearly these loan sharks can't find him. Shows him this paperwork, and then he goes and shows it to Sarah, and she's kind of like, you know what I mean. And then like real heavy-handed, like kind of in the first season, is like these people just in broad daylight with guns just breaking into people's houses trying to pop them. You know what I mean? That's kind of what happened with like the special agent. I can't remember his name. The guy Paul Adelstein plays, but him and his partner, and they just go around in broad daylight shooting, like in the street and stuff like that, and no one ever sees anything, and they always cover their tracks. It's just the fact this woman's like walking up the driveway with like a gun. Fair enough,
A
it
gun
was
in the
solid.
hand, yeah.
You can't colour, but she's got the gun out, and she's got the shiniest silencer you've ever seen, the most, you know, sore thumb thing you've ever seen. So she's breaking into the house, and then like the husband's taking like forever getting the gun out, is loading it up, and is walking about, shoots him, you know what I mean, in the house.
And it just happens to coincide with the exact time that Lincoln had rang her. It's like when the car showed up as well.
Exactly. I mean, it's just crazy how the fact that they just walk about in broad and just pop people. It's like they don't even know who this guy is, and they just walk in there and shoot him straight away. So you got him down, then the police come and they dip off. Then you got Lincoln getting chased, and this for me was the best part of the episode. Is sitting in like a Ford, and like is sitting there, and then they hack his car, and it just so the car's going along, and like it just does a real clean shot of the side of like and like there's a sticker on the side of the car saying electric, and it is the biggest stick you've ever seen in your life. So if you're confused how there's normal cars suddenly getting hacked, they've got a dirty grey electric sign on the side of it, so it's like, oh, this car must be electric. So it's
Honest to God.
whizzing down the road at like 100 mile per hour, and then the best thing I've seen in my life, he goes through the windscreen and he kind of ragdolls through a tree into the river. I was like, that was amazing. That was just crazy. I couldn't believe it. Just the way he whacks through the windscreen, and it's like the windscreen doesn't come off, it's just a perfect oval in the windscreen, like where it's like two people have gone through, but it's just him, but he's broke on that side as well, and he launches through it and whizzes through a tree, and I'm just thinking he's gonna land in the river. I guarantee he lands in the river, and it's just like oh my god, that was terrible.
I honestly couldn't believe. I mean this. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
It was amazing.
And I was sat there. I'm still trying to work it out now. Maybe as someone, I only watched like the first season and a half. So as someone that watched the show for its entirety, maybe you can answer this for me. Does the show know it's stupid? Is this meant to be stupid, or am I meant to look at this as like a serious thing?
There is the first season was real serious,
Yes,
and
that's
stuff
what I
like
remember.
that, and then it was just like there was outlandish kind of things, outlandish scenarios. Like as I said, the people walking in broad daylight just shooting people. There's stuff like that which would never even in Chicago. Well, actually, it does happen in Chicago, but whatever. So I mean, but for all four seasons it was a real good show, but that it was like there was really like weird random stuff going on. How that happens, he breaks out of one prison, then gets end up chucked into another prison, then his girlfriend gets chucked into a prison. There was like dumb stuff like that, but it was still like a really good show. You didn't really care. But this is crazy.
That was
Like,
next level, isn't it?
it's never been this crazy before. And like, so yeah, I guess Teabag comes out, and then he's pissing about on his computer looking for a date and stuff like that, and he brings up the woman, and it's like, ugh. And then he gets his appointment for his hand, so he goes there and meets with this guy who knows who he is. You know what I mean? And there's a mysterious donor who gave him hella cash, but only if they give Teabag his hand back. So
is this Michael then? Because like the doctor mentioned something about the brain. I couldn't quite figure out what the hell he was saying. It confused me. But is this something to do with his brain tumor? Has he orchestrated this dude's release and then the surgery?
Well, no, the surgery was saying how, like, in terms of the brain stuff, it's like how you can fool about with the brain and the tendon. So it's like you can manipulate the hand, which is robotic, using kind of nerve signals going into the brain. So there's no brain stuff going on. But yeah, because the guy who kind of, it says after the surgery, like, who was it? And it's like no one. And like the guy's name, who's kind of like turns out to be Michael, like I forget what the name was, something beginning with O, and that just so happens to be the name of flipping the jacket, the cream jacket, because even crazier, Lincoln just decides to dig up Michael's grave, you know what I mean, some more craziness, and just takes out the jacket. So he kind of takes up the jacket, and like he ends up wearing it, and it like fits him perfectly. And I'm thinking there's hella difference between him and Wentworth Miller, but the jacket fits him perfectly. I'm just trying to get his name up now. But yeah, so like I think what it is in terms of like, because yeah, like the guy who is a real doofy name, because he gets the name out of him. And that name is something beginning with K, but they just give him the second name. Yeah, Canyon Altis. So he says, oh yeah, it was funded by no one, and he was like, what does that mean? And it was like the name Altis, and it translates in Greek as no one. So, and that turns out to be who Michael is at the end. Because I mean, they go through it. I mean, just to spoil it now, but we'll kind of get on the journey there. But like, it's also the jacket. He opens up the jacket, and it says this jacket was made for Canyon Altis. So like, and that turns out to be Michael. Now my thought is, because Michael's like, I don't know who you are, my name's Kanye Lautis, blah blah blah, and it turns out he's like a terrorist who's in the prison for murder and looks just like thing. I think like whatever, he survived the electricity, and they, whoever found him, cured his brain tumor, but because of it, like when he wakes up, say he forgets everything, and it's like, oh, you're this guy, and I think whoever's got him has explained that to him, so that kind of explains. And now I don't know who's leading clues to him, because I don't think he's leading the clues. I think someone else is leading them to him, but I don't know why. So yeah, because yeah, it's in the jacket, it's the mysterious donor, and whoever's got Teabag out of prison. Now, why kind of Michael Schofield will want Teabag out of prison and to fix his hand? So,
Oh yeah, that's something I meant to ask as well, because from what I remember, they were kind of forced into teaming up with Teabag in the first season. Did they like become friends or something?
not really, no. They kind of, yeah, they got out of prison with him, and then Teabag was kind of nervous that they'd ditch him afterwards, so he chained himself to Michael, and then they end up, the gangster guy, I forget his name, it's like Peter Stormare, you know, the guy who like guest stars and everything. He was like one of the Vertigo in Arrow, you know, the guy with the like forehead and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the like Italian gangster guy. He lops Teabag's hand off with an axe, and then he ends up going to a veterinarian surgeon to get it stitched on. Then later on, he kind of goes his own way because he's going to get a bunch of like money or whatever, and then he ends up coming along like a locker and stuff like that, because like they're all hunting for these lost millions, and then he ends up getting tied to a radiator, so he kind of rips his hand off or whatever and escapes again, and then he ends up just getting a plastic hand put on, and then he ends up going to work at Gate, which is where the like company that's been screwing him all over the government conspiracy is like in the building. There's like a break-in, they're going to steal all the key cards and put it into a card reader, which is like their black book of all their dirty secrets and stuff, so they can bring down the company who kind of orchestrated Lincoln getting sent into prison, and a bunch of other like booky stuff on the download, like terrorist stuff and energy things. So, and like there's like another guy who's trying to break into there to get the card reader, and that's in the building next to him, which is Gate. And then that guy ends up getting killed, but then Teabag finds all these things and assumes that identity, so they have to work with him again because he's working in the office there, and they have to get through the office down into some things to get into the next building, so they're buddy with him there. But then in the end, like Teabag ends up screwing him over, but kind of like because Michael's like the kind of last thing at the end to get his girl out of prison, and like Michael's like, oh yeah, buddy and stuff like that, but he knows that Teabag's going to screw him over, so he kind of double bluffs him. Teabag screws him over, and it works out to his plan, and he was like, I knew you couldn't screw me over. And Teabag ends up getting put back in Fox River, the original prison, for like a million life sentences or whatever, however many life sentences he is, so he's never seen dawn again today or escape, and he ends up like back in the prison. So yeah, so not really buddies and stuff like that up to that point.
Okay.
So that's what kind of makes me think that something else is going on, but it's like why they'd get Teabag out of prison and get him a new hand. It's like, what's his kind of importance? That's what I mean. So I guess that's the interesting stuff. So I mean, yeah, the kind of foul reports that Michael's in this prison, so they have to go over to what, Yemen or whatever, which is like war torn in the middle of a civil war, so there's a bunch of terrorist stuff going off, so, and it's not safe for an American to be there, so he ends up teaming up with C-Note, Ben Franklin, who like was one of the original prisoners and stuff like that, so he teams up with him to kind of go over there, and then Sucre, another one of the original prisoners, turns up, and they're like, no, I'll call for you later, you stay there. So they end up going over there, then they end up getting kidnapped and nearly killed because there's like people following them, taking pictures, trying to get them killed. So I don't. So whether they're like this, it's like generally like you'd think two government factions, I guess. So one government faction's kind of orchestrated Teabag getting out of prison, getting the information to Lincoln and blah blah blah, and like the other one's trying to kill him. So that's the kind of grasp I've got. So they manage to escape that and batter them. Then they end up getting into the prison, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's not Michael Scofield, whatever. They've kind of faked all their things, and it's just some random guy. Then they get in there like Canyon Altus or whatever, who's like a terrorist, who's like in there for murder, like whatever that means, whether it's a ton of murders or literally just one murder. So he's in the prison. They talk to him and it's like, oh, who are you? I don't know who you are. Then he walks off and he kind of closes his eyes. That makes me think, is he pretending? Then he kind of ends up like going back into the prison. That's the end of the episode.
I thought he was pretending as well, because I couldn't quite work out the body language. It looked like he was purposely like showing his hand to Lincoln. I thought maybe there was something like on the tattoos that was like a message or something.
Probably. But like it's not really kind of explained yet, but it is all kind of booky stuff like that. So Lord knows what's going on, but that's the kind of grasp I've got for it, the two kind of government factions. I don't think Michael would get Teabag out of prison for anything, but like, so yeah, I'm confused whether he's faking, but I kind of, in my head, I'm thinking, has whoever cured him, whoever found his body, got him out, he's still alive, got him back to life, and then they've obviously got this brain tumour thing. So I guess maybe in fixing that, he's lost his memory, and they've been like, look, you're this guy, blah blah blah. They've put him in prison over there randomly, and now someone's like drawing all them to him, whether to break him out for some reason. But why would you want to break him out? Maybe he knows something about someone else. It's all very confusing. It's kind of cool though, I liked it, but by George, there was some crazy stuff going on in there. But yeah, I'm excited for it all over again. I think it's good, but yeah, craziness. Like more than one kind of outrageous thing has happened. That's like, even through the kind of all the other 4 seasons, nothing this crazy has ever happened. Because like the first one was really sick, and it was always kind of left it on like a cliffhanger at the end of the episode, like, and it was really really well written. The escape was really cool, and it was kind of all like solid and stuff like that. And then like kind of getting the millions, and then like getting chucked in Sona, and then escaping out, and then having to get Scylla and all the key cards to destroy the company, to like bargain amnesty, and then having the final break was the 2 special like episodes where the girlfriend ends up getting thrown in prison. But I mean, no one's gone through a windscreen into a river before, but graves have been dug up.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that has happened once or twice, but no people through the thing, and no mysteriously like fitting jackets, because I was thinking that jacket fits him smug, you know what I mean, and it like went down to past his like, you know, back pocket. So I was thinking if Wentworth Miller wore that would be down to his kneecaps. I was just thinking, you ain't convinced no one with that jacket. It looked nice though.
One thing I've got it was so heavy-handed though, it was doing my absolute head in. When we first see Michael, and you're having like that voiceover as what's the face, Sarah Cowdery is talking to the kid,
yeah,
about like he's the storm or something, and then you hear a storm noise in the background. It's like, oh my god,
it's
oh boy.
I think like this could be like the one goofy episode to get it all the way, get it out the way, and it'll just carry on solid. Because I mean, but yeah, I'm hoping, because if not, it's like, how can you be away for 8 years and this is the best you can come up with? But it was kind of really funny. It was
from what I remember, the show's strength was, at least the year I watched it, was basically having everyone together. And you know, they're all making their plans. Obviously, Michael was kind of in charge of that. I hope they get back to that quickly, and it's not, you know, 5-6 episodes of let's try and get Michael to remember or whatever the hell the crap it's going to be. I hope they need to get everyone there. They need to get T-Dog and the other guys all together, and then move on. What did I call him?
You called him T-Dog.
That's a better name.
It's T-Bag.
Oh,
Theodore Bagwell.
there's
Yeah, it's probably going to be like, from this position, it's going to be like Sona. Like, Michael's in prison trying to break whoever out, and you got Lincoln and all the other ones working on the outside to try and break him out. So, whether the whole season's going to be them helping him break out of prison, or whether they're going to break him out in like 2 episodes, and then the other like 8 is like unraveling kind of things together. But I guess I'd have to drag it out for like about 5 or 6 episodes, getting him out of prison, and then working on what's happening elsewhere. Because I mean, you got things blowing up and stuff like that, and they're making big emphasis on like the Civil War. So obviously things are going to be difficult,
mm.
and it's all over the place. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I'm okay with them being in prison for a while as long as they all wind up in prison. I just think they need everyone together. I don't care unless these other guys. There's Lincoln and there's Michael, and then unless these other guys are with the two of them, I personally just don't care.
I'm intrigued what's going to happen with Teabag, and I'm intrigued what's going to happen with Sarah Tancredi. Is like she just going to be in America and whatever? Because it's a dangerous place for Americans, but Michael seems to be fine. Lincoln's like cruising, and what now? Teabag's just going to randomly turn up
Yeah,
in like Yemen or something and skate through, and they're all
with
going to flip into the whitest guys you've ever seen, and they're just turning up.
with Sarah, I've got to wonder because obviously Wentworth Miller and Dominic Pascal are on Legends. Dominic Pascal more than Wentworth Miller this season. I've got to wonder with her, like how much she can be in it as well. She's got a sci-fi show, I think Colony or something, with the dude who used to be in Lost. Though I don't know how much she can be in the show either. It might just be a way of like having her in it for as much as they can.
Yeah. I don't know, but for all intents and purposes, it did kind of open to strong ratings. So yeah, strong ratings is the kind of thing. I'll have to double check them and get back to you. But yeah, so I mean, it's a hit. Whether it kind of goes down, who knows? But let's talk numbers.
I'm gonna go with a 6.5.
I wouldn't go that low. Yeah,
I
it's
know
a
you
bit.
wouldn't, but you're a big fan of it. I'm not a massive fan of the show. I enjoyed the first season, but
First season was the best. First
there's
season was probably one of the greatest first seasons of television, like, ever. It's crazy, like, edge of your seat stuff. I
like
went
I
out and
said,
bought the box sets.
I'm gonna I'm gonna give the show the mulligan of they're bringing him back to life, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. That's how we're gonna move on. But there are certain things which I'm annoyed by. I don't, we touched on it before. I don't get why you need to drag Lincoln back down in order to tell the story. He could be a dude living a happy life with his family and still think I need to save my brother.
Yeah,
He does. His life doesn't need to be terrible for him to go save his brother.
exactly. I completely agree with that. Boy, did it make me laugh. I'll probably give it an 8.
Okay, it's cool. That's your
I mean,
opinion.
it looks. I think there's a lot of kind of interesting things. I think they could probably explain this whole him being someone else and him surviving being dead. I think they could kind of explain that together, and I guess that's not too bad. I guess that's kind of smart. I think there's going to be a lot of kind of interesting twists. I think it is going to be like really clever. It's just we haven't kind of got that. A lot of things have been set up in the first episode, and it's going to trundle along. I think there's going to be a lot of like more twists before things start getting revealed. But yeah, the chemistry's good, the acting's good. Teabag's back. He's sick. He's real good. Lincoln's good as well, because you kind of see the difference as him as Lincoln as opposed to him as Heatwave on stuff like that. It's still the kind of, it is less kind of like with the accent and emphasis on the things, and there's a vulnerability to him. So yeah, yeah. So that is our review of the first episode of Prison Break. Ogygia, that is the name of the episode. Maybe. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and this has been the Superhero Hub.